Hey everyone, Caller here once again with Hazel, or Hazley Nutt, as her full name is, and we're going to be casting Game 4 of the MST Group A. This is JulyZerg versus Firefist, and I think neither of us or any of you would have expected 4GG and July both to have been beaten once in this series, which means that only one between 4GG and July at most will advance out of this group.
Which really is a tragedy because July and 4GG are known to be such great players, and I was hoping that both of them would make it out of this group. But who knows? Maybe Dr. K will tear up the scene and end up being one of the great. I have no idea. Maybe not. But Dr. K has been doing pretty well in these pools.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. K, we were joking around, he could be, since he's all old and stuff, he could, well, actually, much is older than him, but that's making sense. Fine, doesn't make sense, but I was going to say he could be the father of both Best and Much, because he looks kind of like both of them. But that makes no sense at all either. But anyway, this is a Zerg versus Zerg here, July versus Firefist. And by the way, in the south side, in the bottom here, is JulyZerg, and at top we have Firefist. And this is Zerg versus Zerg once again, obviously. JulyZerg is quite decent at Zerg versus Zerg. Even though it is his weakest lineup, he's still over 50%. And I think July is definitely a favorite here. Although I'm a little scared because this is Zerg versus Zerg, and it does lend to a lot of luck in some ways between these two players. And actually, no, I'm sorry, I got the colors mixed up. July is the red Zerg at the top, and Firefist is the yellow Zerg at the bottom.
Yeah, and we'll probably be seeing a very short game. I think you once alluded to Zerg v Zerg as sushi. Very light and very fast, but very enjoyable, and that's what I find Zerg v Zergs to be. They tend to be pretty action-packed, with Zerglings constantly moving, mutalisks and Zergling micro being extremely important because just the balance of one Zergling and one muta could turn the match. And July just went 9 pool into. I'm not sure what that was, either 9 or overpool.
Yeah, I think July went for the 9 pool, and I think we're seeing here overpool gas here from what's his face, Firefist. It's going to be slightly ahead of July here. Not much July can do about that, though, once he discovers it. He's going to be at least, I think that means he's going to be 1 or 2 drones ahead of JulyZerg in terms of overall drone count, and he's not going to be behind really at all in terms of economy. So JulyZerg is going to open up with a little bit of deficit here. There's no way his Zerglings are going to get there in time to do any damage, of course. And we'll probably, I'm thinking we're probably going to be seeing one base builds, sorry, not one base, but one hatchery builds from both players here. We're probably going to see a very fast lair from July.
Right, and looks like July. There comes the lair, and July builds a few Zerglings, I guess. 2 or 3, or maybe. Yeah, I think those are Zerglings. Yes, he has 6 Zerglings up, and he's moving towards Firefist's base right now. I think he's also known as Sense, so just to avoid any confusion, Firefist Sense. Sense's, or Firefist's layer is just a bit behind July, but not by much. And it'll be interesting to see who has the better Ling micro, because really that's what Zerg v Zerg is all about, the micro. But it looks like Firefist doesn't have Zerglings. He has 4 Zerglings coming against these 6, maybe 8 Zerglings by July. July definitely has very good micro. We'll have to see how Firefist matches up against him.
Yeah, the one problem here is though that JulyZerg has gone for the fast layer, so his speed upgrade is going to be a little bit slower. Had he somehow magically known this this was his counter build, he might have gone for speed first, and he might have a big advantage at this point. But unfortunately, he doesn't have it. He is going to have the Spire out a little bit faster, but like I said, the distances are so great in this map that he's not going to have really an attack advantage. Pretty much they're going to arrive at Firefist base about the same time Firefist gets his out. But actually, no, Firefist is actually delayed enough to get a hatchery, so I'm actually wrong about that. July is going to have maybe like a 15-second window when his Mutalisks are going to have some free reign over Firefist base. So this could be interesting. We could see JulyZerg come back from this initial deficit in build orders.
Right, and in the meantime, they're just posturing. Both pro gamers are posturing with their Zerglings, forming those concaves so that, well, it looks like July has to run back to his base now. He has less Zerglings and won't be able to do much against those Zerglings from Firefist. The Spire isn't that much far behind though, so we'll have to see if July can just get those mutas in time, do some damage, enough damage to make up for his build order.
I think it's interesting that July's actually choosing to expand at this point. It's a very risky maneuver, but I guess he's hoping that he can keep Firefist in his base long enough that he can get that second base up and get some extra gas out. I don't know if Firefist has scouted this or not, but it doesn't really matter because he needs that second hatch anyway, and he's going to put it at the expansion, so it does make sense. But it is going to be very vulnerable to Zergling attack should Firefist win this initial encounter. Looks like, yeah, like I said, barely seconds will be the difference between July's Mutalisks arriving and Scourge/Mutalisk being produced for Firefist. Firefist, of course, has 2 hatches up to July's 1, so the total number of units he's going to produce is going to be greater. The total number of air units is going to be much greater for Firefist. So July is still, in trouble here, I'd say, and this is really sad to see because just this build order deficit, man, is very critical in Zerg versus Zerg, and we're seeing a lot of units being produced, probably Mutalisks and Scourge here, and Scourge are already out, so I was actually wrong. July Zerg doesn't even get his 15 seconds of fame over over his base.
Yeah, it does look like July is in a bit of trouble, and he might have trouble defending that expo because now that the mutas are out for both of them, Sense or Firefist can take out all of July's Zerglings, every single one of them. July should have pulled those back, I think, earlier, if he had seen that or known the timing. And now he looks like he's in a lot of trouble. It's probably two or three meters and a lot of Scourge, a lot of Zerglings against essentially an undefended expo.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard here for July. July Zerg needs to kill off the Scourge, or chase away the Mutalisks, and prevent the Zerglings from doing damage. But the problem is that the Zerglings are probably going to end up doing a ton of damage. He can do the other two, but the Zerglings, oh man, look at that. Zerglings already going to go to work here at the natural expansion. We'll see if they decide to attack the hatchery or not. Meanwhile, the air from Firefist is taking a while to get there, but 4 Zerglings now attacking the natural. I'm not sure where July is. There's July's Mutalisks. He's going to take out these Zerglings in time. Actually, I'm a little surprised Firefist didn't move in earlier, but no, Firefist is going for the main of July. He was just waiting for July to move his Mutalisks out of position, and now he's going to pick off drones in the main, Scourge attacking each other. Firefist, I still think, has at least the same number of Mutalisks, if not more, and he's sending more Zerglings into July's natural expansion, so this is really difficult for July to hold, and this is the problem with going for that expand. He knew it was kind of a catch-22. He knew he had to go for the dangerous expansion, but at the same time, if he didn't go for it, he would have been, economically behind in this game, and he probably would have lost anyway. But now I think he's still in trouble. He's lost at least 2 drones, and those are drones he couldn't afford to lose.
Yeah, I think that play was actually pretty clever by Firefist. He sent in the Zerglings and waited until he knew July's mutas were outside. And look at this air battle coming. It looks like it's hard to tell who's going to come ahead. With July's Scourge, he might just change the battle right here, even though he has been behind. But meantime, the Zerglings are opening up a new front and attacking July's drones, which will be really terrible because Zergs are already so economically deprived in Zerg v Zerg.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely really bad for July right now. It looks like July somehow has lost the air battle, actually, or at least he's no. I think just his Mutalisks were out of position, and there comes Firefist attacking more with his Mutalisks. I think July definitely has fewer Mutalisks now that I look at it. Yeah, July just down to 2 Mutalisks. I think that's going to be it for July Zerg, unfortunately, in this MSL. I think this is really sad to see, but looks like Firefist has control over the air and he has control over the ground. There's July Zerg looking very unhappy there, and really, I think his natural expansion, I think that late expansion was definitely a risk. I don't know if it was the best decision or not. Do you notice? I mean, there's still slow Zerglings. Firefist still does not even have a speed upgrade for his Lings. I guess he just doesn't feel like he needs them because
I don't
he's
think
just
either
busy
of them went
building
for
air.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Both of them went for a fast gas too, so I actually expected speedlings, but I guess they went for the fast layer and mutas.
Yeah, they just had more important things to do.
It's looking pretty bad now for and now it's looking pretty bad for July because he has no mutas in there. He must have some mutas or at least Scourge in the air at this point. I'm surprised that Firefist really hasn't just gone in for the kill at this point, because I don't think July has any units available to fight this off other than Scourge, which he can micro again.
Yeah, I think we're going to see exactly that. Jelizer already has to pull all of his drones out, and I think this is going to be it. Firefist picking off the remaining Scourge. Jelizer refusing to GG. Definitely, it's over though. This game, there's absolutely nothing that Jelizer can do to come back from this. He's lost almost all of his drones, and he has no units in the air, like you said. GG coming from Jelizer. All right, so wow, what a strange result to this group. We're gonna see Firefist facing 4GG in the last game, and who knows if Firefist wins again, then it's gonna be a double, just a double bizarre turn of events that involves two great players getting eliminated by two relative unknowns. Absolutely crazy. And we'll find out in just a few minutes, so stay tuned for Game 5 between 4GG and Firefist, final game in this group. Thanks for watching.